What are the most common physical issues caused by prolonged sitting?
So in order for you to take the toxins out of your body, you need to contract your muscles. You lift your hip, your body, and you just stretch forward. Press your neck against the chair and just...
Why those glasses? Is it on purpose that you went to? Is that your style, or is there a real purpose behind those?
Super charismatic nucleus that stays here in the middle of your eyes. When the light comes through your eyes, it's gonna tell if it's day or night. It's not how do you sleep. How do you wake? You wake up full of energy, or do you wake up you needing a coffee?
Because you present yourself on social media as humanologist, I don't know what this is.
Few people know. You do not have health professionals. You have disease professionals. There are very few health professionals because this is the first generation of kids. The intelligence will be lower than their fathers. Why?
What's happening? Why do you think that's happening?
Whenever a kid is like a zombie, his brain is not developing. And this is also destroying our relationships, because right now, if you find someone and there is something, I don't like on this, so I'll just skip, because
There's another one waiting, right?
Emotional conflict brings disease over time.
What kind of diseases?
You have the education from Hollywood movies, you have education from Disney movies, where it's always happily ever after. And because when you build a good relationship with yourself, you create a soil where then other loves can grow. A relationship now, it's a contract where you give or take. It's not about building anymore.
How does physical fitness impact a person's confidence and self-esteem in relationships?
A lot. Because when you work out, very important, train yourself to do not be instantly attracted to the most attractive person in the room.
Ivo, thank you very much for accepting this invitation and the challenge. I know board games is something very far away for what you do and your likes, but maybe today you'll discover something new that you will enjoy, appreciate, and who knows, join the community as well. As an introduction, Ivo, in social media, you present yourself as a personal trainer, a humanologist, and you also wrote a book called 30 Days to Change Your Life. So I see here lots of small, maybe big topics that I would like to explore with you today in our conversation. But because this is mainly a board games channel, I would like to start by asking you, what is your connection with board games, if any? And don't forget that we are already playing Azul, and it's your turn to start.
Okay, very well. So I'll try to start and talk and remember with everything. So basically, João, thank you a lot for the invitation. And I see a very big wall behind you with a lot of board games. So it's interesting to see that there are still someone who really brings these games into our reality, because nowadays people are just basically playing games on the computer or on the on the phone, and this is a good way to connect with people as well. So thank you for keeping these old habits and showing that to people as well. Well, like you said, yes, I'm a personal trainer already for 18 years already. And so that's taken a lot of my life, basically. It's where I started my career. And tell me, sorry, what was the question you made? Because playing the game and reminding everything.
What is your connection with board games? Do you play? You don't play? Have you played?
Okay. With so basically the connection with board games. I mean, on the past, I used to play some board games as well, like Magic the Gathering and some other card games like that. But now, I mean, it's a long. I mean, then the rest, like what we all used to play as kids, as Monopoly and things like that. But it's been long. Yeah, that's like long time ago. But anyway, it's something that is entertaining. It's good because most of time with 3 kids, so forget having time to play and to do these small things. It is good also to just relax and take your mind off so many things you have in your life to settle and to bring with you on your back. So it's good to really have a time to relax. And it's something that, who knows, I might come back someday.
Who knows? Who knows? So you're stealing all the pieces, Ivo. So you just grab all the pieces already in the game, but I'm
Okay.
already surprised. So you played Magic the Gathering? How much? Or for how long?
I don't know. I don't know, man. I had like the cards itself, and it was like when I was like 15 or something like that. So I mean, for maybe 2 or 3 years, something like that. But I don't know. Now I quite don't remember already much of the things, but it was a cool game. It was an interesting game. I like things that have a lot of strategy where you have to think about it. Games normally that I like to play it's everything that's related to strategy or finding some sort of clues and things like that. So I like things that challenge the brain basically.
Cool. So yeah, I'm also I still play Magic the Gathering, so it's a cool game, a cool game.
That's cool.
So
It's
yeah,
addicting, I guess.
it is, and your wallet will suffer a lot as well if you are very deep
Okay.
into it.
Yeah.
What else?
Hmm.
So we're just starting, Ivo. We're just starting yet.
Yes.
Because our audience is board gamers, card gamers, Magic the Gathering gamers, other kinds of games. We all spend many hours sitting, right? Or maybe playing video games as well. It's many, many hours sitting. And probably when we stop doing that and we just move to a different activity, we don't compensate in any way the time that we are sitting.
Exactly.
And because you are a personal trainer, so you may get lots of people with this kind of habits, right? What are the most common physical issues caused by prolonged sitting?
Basically, it's not just about who plays games, but basically if
Working as well,
most
right?
of the persons that's exactly most of the persons are working in the computer nowadays, and it's going to be more often and often.
Right. Yep.
And of course that is bringing massive changes in our biochemistry, in our posture, and on our health. So I can talk in a little bit of each of one
Mm-hmm.
thing, for example, that inflicts is that you, for example, have a pump for your blood. That is your heart. Your heart pumps the blood to all your body. But there is a thing that is your lymphatic system, where all the toxins are excreted away, and by where your defenses system it works. Your lymphatic system it depends of the contraction of the
Muscles.
muscle. Exactly, it depends of the contraction in order to make that flow. So it's like if you do not move and you are seated all day, so you are compressing all your body without moving, what will happen? It's like being in imagine like a stopped water, which with over time it will get very bad bacteria and very bad things in there. So in order for
Okay.
you to take
Okay.
the toxins out of your body, and in order to make the your defenses go to where they are needed, you need to contract your muscles. You need to make your lymphatic system work. That's very, very important. Otherwise, what will happen? Toxins will start accumulating in your body, and those toxins will start creating DNA damage. And from there, you can get many, many diseases like autoimmune disease, cancers, and other things as well. And the same thing if you already have, because we all have cancers and things like that. So, I mean, every day we are creating new cancer cells. So, like from 1,000 to 10,000 per day. But your body is able to clean themselves if your immune system gets there. So, if you need to help your immune system to get where it's needed. So that's one of the main reasons why stop being seated all day is bad in terms of biochemistry speaking, in terms of longevity. And another thing, of course, is one of the main causes for back injury, back pain, hernias, things like that, because our spine was not made to be seated all day. And you start sitting the kids since they are babies, and that's why most of people nowadays, because your spine needs the gravity in order to get those curvatures, and because people are always kids are starting to be on a C position, seated all day, they start losing those curvatures, they start getting scoliosis, they start getting a lot of bad postures already, which will then influence it all over the time. And then another thing, that's the topic of the book I which I was part of, because the chapter that I written about, it was about how to basically it's high productive brain, so how to get your brain in the best shape possible. And one thing that also being seated all day and you accumulate those toxins, what starts to happen is that those toxins also start to affect your brain. You start to have brain fog. So if you do not move, your brain will have less ability, your neurons will have less ability to make connections, so you'll think slower, you will have less solutions for the problems that you have in your life. You'll start, because you have a lot of pollution in the brain, you'll also start seeing the world in a much negative position. So you need to move. Basically, if you want to have a clean mind, a clean body, it's like a hygiene. It's not something that I just want to have abs for the summer. No, working out, it's a personal hygiene every day. It should be think like a hygiene. If you go wash your teeth every day, you should also move your body every day, even if it's just stretching, it's just doing some squats. Simple things can already activate your lymphatic system. You just think on an accordion, it's like compressing and extending, compressing. That's what makes your lymphatic system works, for example.
Okay.
There are some exercises. I mean, if you want, I can show some simple tips for who is sitting all day. For example, I can show you some exercise and people
I want to know, yes. And I knew, Ivo, that our conversation today, I was going to get hit with, I was going to be very guilty with all the non-exercise that I do. But it's better to know these things now than not know and one day suffer later from being seated many hours. Okay. So imagine for people that work long hours or people that play video games or board games and then they stop. What are the kind of tips or exercise that you would like to show us? Quick ones to counteract the negative effects of sitting.
So basically, you need to understand that you are always on a C. I'm going to have to take my things off. Basically, you are seated on a curved and kyphotic posture. So shoulders on the front. Your shoulders are over the line of your ear, so this will also make massive pain for your arms and of course for your lower back. So you need to try and to make a shift in this posture. So basically try to make the opposite thing of this posture. So small tips that you can do. If you're working in a chair, I give this for like the work exercises for normally when I give some labor from work exercises that people work on a chair, things that are easy to do. I'll give you 4 exercises, for example. Exercise 1, you put the arms in the chair and things you need to do is just to lift your hip, your body, and you just stretch forward. So you go down, and you go there, and you just stretch forward, go down, you go there, and you stretch forward. So basically you want to stretch all the body to the back, all the shoulders, okay, all to the back like this. Second exercise you can do, you just put the hands on your head and basically you use your own chair to press your neck against the chair and just open the chest. So your own head is going to make strength against your hands, and you're going to feel, if you stop there for a little, you're going to feel that the back muscles are engaging. This is what you want. You want your back muscles to be reinforced because
I'm feeling it.
I think I'm still in there because it lost the picture for a little bit. Because the muscles are all day like hanging you so you do not fall, so they need to stretch in the back. So this is the second exercise. Third exercise that you can relieve some pain from your lower back is torso rotations. Put the feet on the floor, and from this, you just twist as far as you can to one side, twist as far as you can to the other one. Again, when you do these twists, you are squeezing your abs, you are making this squeeze in your lymphatic system. So this is something, especially contracting your abs, is something that you really need to do in order to put your health in a better state. And the second thing, and the last thing is like, because you are always constant telling your brain that this is a normal position, like all curved and with the legs on the front. So you want to also think on your legs and your lumbar, because this is connected to your lumbar. So the less flexibility you have in here, the more injury you will have on your back. So always think in the flexibility of your thigh. Basically, you put, let me see if I can show in here, you put your thigh your knee on the there on the bench, and then you just lean back so you feel the stretching, and you pull your arm up like this. So basically, the knee is on the chair, the foot is on the chair, the knee all to the back. Then you just let yourself fall to your foot, and you fully stretch one side, stay there like for 30 seconds, and the other one. At least these exercises already target most of the exercises. Um, Hold on, where do I put this? Okay, because I have to do this and play at the same time. It's not easy. But
Yeah.
anyway, so this is already going to target most of your lymphatic system, and it's 2 minutes. If you don't have 2 minutes in your life to do this, you don't have a life, basically.
Okay. So I understood from the feeling and from the nature of the exercise. Basically, it's exercise that contradict the posture that you had for hours and hours, right? It's going,
Exactly.
making the muscles go and the bones go into the opposite direction they were during those long hours, right?
Exactly. That's what you want to target. Exactly.
Okay.
So
Okay.
that's that's a good tip. Exactly.
Mm-hmm.
So at least if you already do this, you already start at least putting your lymphatic system into work. You'll have at least a better health, and you just do this like for 2 minutes. Your brain you'll see that you have a little bit more energy in your brain, because when you work out, you do not get tired. This is something that people need to understand. When you get tired because you do not work out, you do not use your body. This is because when you work out, you are making your mitochondrial to produce more energy, because it will drive energy to the mitochondrial. And that also includes in your brain. So when you work out, you produce more energy. Your brain will be more aware. And another thing that I talk a lot in the book as well is about the quality of sleep. And when you work out, exercise is the only thing, or basically the only thing that can contrariate, I don't know if it's the right word, but that can contrariate the contradict. Yeah, exactly. It's the only thing that can contradict the lack of sleep. When you don't sleep enough hours, if you work out in the next day, exercise can at least clean some of the bad things that would happen in your body, like you losing cerebral cells, like getting some more nerve damage and things like that. So that can at least contradict a little bit. So it has massive implications in all areas of the health. It's only said that most doctors don't prescribe it as the first line of defense. It should be.
Thank you for the tips, Ivo. Really, really helpful. And by the way, just remind everyone that if you would like to explore deeper these topics with the help of Ivo, all his links and contacts are on the video description. We've been focused on exercise here on these last minutes, but what do you know other small daily habits that people can adopt to stay active despite the sedentary job or positions besides exercise?
Basically, make your habit to move. That's the most thing. So, for example, I live in a sixth floor. I don't take the elevator unless I have a lot of bags and things. My kids, when we don't have anything, we always come by the stairs. We are working out all day. So basically, everything that you can do to move around will count more than just going 1 hour to the gym per week, for example. Because if you put every day, if instead of going to work by car, you can go like by walking, or at least if you live, but I live in a 10th floor of my building. Okay, you stop the elevator on the floor 8 and you go up the stairs. So just every small steps that you can do to put some more activity on the day. For example, when I went to travel the other day, I went on the subway, and there were all the persons that were going to the airport. They were all carrying bags, and they were all by the stairs escalator. I was the only one that went by the stairs. It's a lot of stairs, but with a thing on my back, and just think if someone would follow. Because at least if one follows, it's already good. Then on the first one, no one came. But then on the second stairway, there was someone that already went there. It's someone that I go, so it also went to the stairs. So it's like this. Always try to make yourself more aware and bring more people that also want the same as you. Because again, if you want to the first tip is really to put that in your life. The second tip is, if you want to move more in your life, you have to have persons around your life that also move.
Yeah.
Otherwise, because you'll be the connection, the first 5 connections more close that you have. So basically, you need to put yourself in the environment that you want to be.
Yeah, that's applicable to many things, right? It's like the saying, if you have 5 friends that are drunks, you'll be the sixth drunk. Thank you for all these explanations. Some of the things I was not aware, or probably I had forgotten. So thank you for reminding me and everyone listening about the dangers of being seated all day and how to contradict that. Um, one thing that
Exactly.
one thing that I wanted to have the opportunity to ask you is, why those glasses? Is it on purpose that you want to? Is that your style, or is there a real purpose behind those?
There is a real purpose
Oh,
behind it, because again,
okay.
like I mean, I could not be not wearing this and writing the book that I wrote, because one thing that you really need to take attention is to the quality of your sleep, the hygiene of your sleep. And if there is a real pandemic, is people that do not sleep enough hours. And one thing that affects a lot the melatonin. So basically, and most people I have a lot of people with problems of sleep. And basically, you need melatonin, that is the hormone of sleep, in order for you to sleep. Okay. So one thing that breaks
Mhm.
until 70% of your melatonin is white or blue lights. So if you have these lights around you, it will block your melatonin. So one thing that you can now, at least if you really need to be in these lights, because if I shoot down a light, you cannot see me recording. So if I'm having this light on me, at least I'll save my eyes. Because one thing, you have a thing called supercharismatic nucleus that stays here in the middle of your eyes. When the light comes through your eyes, it's gonna tell if it's day or night. So if it's too bright, it's gonna assume that it's sun, so it's day. So it will activate the functions of your daily basis. So when you want to sleep, you need to be in the dark, or at least if you need to really work with computers and things like that. What I always recommend is install filters of blue light filters on the computer, on
Mhm.
the phone. I always have them. And at least if you like to read or something like that, always have like warm lights, like more red or yellow, and don't never have any lights directed to you. And of course, there are other things that affect your melatonin, because to have melatonin, you have to have serotonin, that is the hormone of goodwill. And if a person is depressed, it doesn't have serotonin, so you already think that she will be sleeping bad. And of course, to have serotonin, you need to have tryptophan, that is something that is created by your bacteria in your intestine. So if you are eating bad, you are not producing tryptophan, so you're not producing tryptophan, you will have lower levels of serotonin, so you'll be a more depressed person and you will sleep worse. So if I meet someone
Mhm.
that I see how they eat and they are eating bad, I
Okay.
can already understand that they might have some hormonal issues and they might have some depression issues depending on what you are eating. So that's interesting to
Okay.
also see how the mindset works for the people as well.
There may always be a biochemical explanation for many things.
This is called biohacking. It's a thing that's very in the
Biohacking.
trend. I mean, lots of people already work. So it's biohacking is really using the biology, the science that there is behind, to make your life better and your body more producible.
Biohacking. Okay. Let me ask you two things regarding this. I didn't want to interrupt you, so I will ask
Okay.
now. So, do you really wear those glasses all night, every night?
No, not all. I imagine it's only now because I have the top light on. Only because I have the top light on. Because normally I don't have big lights on. So if I don't have big
Okay.
lights, I just take the glasses and it's all okay. But because I
Okay.
have too much light now, when I reach home, when I reach home, I like to get some candles. For example, the red light doesn't make you anything, so you can have red lights or you can have candles, because we evolved with fire around us, okay, for many years. So our brain adapted to having fire as a protection, for example. So the red
Yes.
light doesn't make you much think, the yellow light doesn't make. So I only use
Okay.
it if I have to be in this environment.
So, in case of extreme light around you, because normally you have a more natural
Exactly.
environment. Okay. And the second thing that I
Exactly.
wanted to ask you, Eve, is that um, I'm. Let me talk about me a little bit. So, yes,
Oh,
I have like screens. all day, even during night, even like 5 minutes before going to bed. And I never felt that affected my sleep. I can, for example, give you a specific example. I may be on the bed looking at a video on the phone. I just put the phone down and I go to sleep immediately. Is it because I can get into sleep very easily as a person, or
The question is, how do you wake up?
how
It's
do
not
I
how do
wake
you
up?
sleep. How do you wake? You wake up full of energy, or do you wake up you needing a coffee? How many people do you know that need coffee to start the day?
I don't need a coffee to start the day. If you put in that terms, no, I start my day without a coffee. But I may feel sleepy in trying to get out of bed, so I don't jump out of bed immediately when the alarm clock
So
rings.
you can, of course, you can get to sleep, but the melatonin is what gets you during the whole night in sleep. So what we can expect is that you can have a lighter sleep, or you
Mm-hmm.
can wake up more
Okay.
times during the night, or you
Okay.
cannot go to REM sleep, because it's the sleep that will regenerate your body, and
Mm-hmm.
that can block that very important part of the sleep that gets the regeneration of all your cells.
Okay.
So that's a thing. And again, another thing that I didn't say about sleeping is when the importance of hygiene of sleeping. This is a massive problem that we have, is about cancer. Is that when you have certain cells that are called the natural killers, those cells are the ones that they target tumors and they target viruses. They are born with babies. They are all with us, and just having one night of 5 hours of sleep, you will decrease around 50% during 2 weeks the natural killer cells in your body. So it's less 50% of armies around you detecting tumors and everything else. So sleep hygiene is very, very important
Mm-hmm.
for immunity. Very,
Mm-hmm.
very important.
Okay. So 5 hours, but deep sleep, not just normal sleep. Deep sleep.
Exactly, the deep sleep.
Deep sleep. Okay.
No, I mean, no, you need to sleep at least 8 to 9 hours. I'm saying that if you sleep only, this is the study that was done, people that slept 5 hours,
Only
they
5.
have a decrease. Yeah, they have a massive decrease on the natural killer cells, and of course, more inflammatory, less memories, everything like
Okay.
that.
Okay. Yeah. So if I don't have any kind of Apple Watch or Fitbit band that tracks my quality of sleep, how can I assess that my sleep? How can I assess that?
I mean,
How can I evaluate if I don't have anyone around me to tell me, hey, you woke up 10 times during the night?
I mean, of course, you have those things that you already can use or buy, like to track your sleep. It's a good thing.
Okay.
You always have, if you are sleeping with someone in your bed, it can tell you if you are moving around in the bed or if you stay still all night. That's another feedback you can have. And another feedback is, maybe if you are not aware, is the energy that you go during the day. If you have enough energy, if your memory is good during all day, if you have enough focus for everything that you need, or if you procrastinate a lot. So it depends really about if you can, for example, memorize good facts or not. So everything is related to the quality of sleep that you have.
Wow. Yeah, and people don't give that importance to sleep. Some people don't give that
Yeah,
importance.
they
Okay.
don't.
Thank you for sharing. Okay. So one of the things that I wanted to ask you is, because you present yourself on social media as humanologist,
Yeah,
I
humanologist.
don't know what this is.
Few people know. Some people know, some others don't. Humanologist is a term that was created by functional nutrition, by Gabriel de Carvalho. That's one of the main leaders in functional nutrition, which basically is someone that can look at your body as a full. So in terms of medicine, normally what happens in medicine, you go to someone and you have a problem in your knee, just gonna see the knee and give you painkillers. You have something in your heart, they're just gonna see the heart and give you something to take off the symptoms. And a humanologist is someone that goes to the causes. Why do you have this? Where does it come from? Even in health, you can imagine you have an autoimmune disease. Why do you have this autoimmune disease? Is it lack of nutrition? Is it because you are inflamed? Is it genetic? Okay. Many doctors like to say it's genetic. Okay. So what genes are inflated? So if it's genetic, what genes? That's a question you need to make, because you can always go further and further. So it's someone that goes deeper to really understand and cures you from the bottom. But of course, the normal medicine, that's not profitable to heal a patient. Okay, so basically, a humanologist is someone that I cannot play any place now. What
No,
do I
they
do?
need to go to the negatives. Yeah, sorry for the
Okay.
gift in the end of the game, because we are going to trigger the
Yeah.
end game now, Ivo. So because there's no more pieces,
Okay.
and I've completed
Yeah.
one row. One player completes a row, and the
Yeah.
game just ends. So let's see the final scores, and we can continue after. Okay, so
Yeah.
let's see. So I've
I
completed the
see the scores
column.
there adding up.
Yeah. So you got all the yellows. You got all the yellows. So you got 10 extra points there because all the yellows. And I
Okay.
got all the reds. Okay, that's it. So the difference it's 70 to you got 34
Okay.
points.
Yeah,
Okay.
for the first game,
First
not bad.
time, first time, right? So would you accept a
Yeah.
rematch now that you know better
Yeah,
how
of
the game
course.
works?
So it's like
I need to propose.
propeller.
I'm
Okay.
going to propose you a rematch. Okay, so let's start this second game, and I'm the one starting. So the strategy that I always use, and I'm not sure if this is a good one or not, but I always try to get the center, the colors in the center, because then you will put adjacent ones more easily. You have the left side and the right side, so you could score more points. Okay, just to share.
I have no idea what you said, but okay. But I'll try to think that.
So
Because
yeah.
again, when I learn something new, I like to be the best on it. So now I have to study about this.
Okay.
And strategy.
Okay. Then I have to study about humanology, right? So,
So basically, humanology, for example, as a personal trainer, what do? We have a pain in your neck, I have a pain in your shoulder. I'm not just going to give you like shoulder exercise. I'm going to understand where does it come from, where are your imbalances, where did it start. So you always go to the root cause of the thing. And normally I do that. For example, when I receive someone to work as me as a personal trainer, I always ask for blood tests. I always want to see the person as a full, not just the person in there to make some exercise. I want to see what they are eating. I want to see how is their blood, what's inside their blood. So I want to understand, for example, if you want to lose some weight, you cannot expect to lose weight if your thyroid is not working properly. So you need to work everything around you so that you can have a proper life, because I work in longevity and quality of life. That's what I mainly give to my clients. So immunologist is exactly someone who to sees the human body not just as a retail, just pieces of the human body, but the human body working in a complementary of systems like neurological, the digestion, the heart, the movement, so everything connected together.
Okay. What kind of qualification do you need to have to do exactly what you do?
I mean, it really varies from what you want to do. But for example, what I studied functional nutrition, and that's the two courses that I took. I took the first in 2012, and then like things are always getting updated. So I think that I was already outdated. So I took a second course in 2016 as well. But I always recommend is if you are looking for someone in nutrition, find functional nutrition. If you are looking for someone in medicine, find functional or integrative medicine, not just a normal medicine, because those are the types of persons that will really, really help you. You have normal doctors, but then they go and take all these formations that really, really goes deeper in the health industry, because you have right now you hear on TV saying the health professionals. You do not have health professionals. You have disease professionals. There are very few health professionals because they have persons that knows how to deal with disease. You go to doctor, he sees your blood test, and they say, "Oh, you are not dying yet, so everything's okay. Everything's okay." When the blood test is already alterated, and that's already the last stages, okay, now let's give you pills. So you have disease professionals, not health professionals. Health professionals, we are starting to grow. That is someone who will bring you to your best version of health. And that best version of health is comparing your blood tests not to persons in a city that is polluted, but is comparing that blood tests to persons in some areas of the world where there is no pollution, where they don't have heart disease, they don't have cancer, like Papua Nova Guinea. So really health and with longevity. So with that reach 100 euros. And how do they reach there? That's where you want to compare your blood tests with, not with persons that are dying of cancer and heart disease. Because if you're going to do your blood tests in any metropolis in Lisbon, you're not. It's not, those levels are not the levels of the ideal levels.
Okay.
It's the levels of it's the levels of what is more common around you. So basically, what you will have in your blood test is that population that is around you. So, and normally, if you live in a metropolis where people are dying of cancer and diabetes and heart rate, it's not the thing that you really want to be in. And if you measure now the blood tests that you were doing 10 years ago, the levels have increased. Why? Because if you're using the same type of levels that people were using like 10 years ago, much more people would already be in disease. So now they increased some of the markers already because it's more normal for people to be more sick. So, so that's the type of medicine that we want to be in, is a functional medicine, because that brings the person to health. That's what the humanology is all about.
Okay, interesting. That's an interesting point of view, and I never heard that perspective before. So, in other words, what you're saying is that normal doctors, they come into play when they need to address a specific disease, but that means that you already have the disease, right? While
exactly
the health professionals are the ones helping you maintain your health or even improve it even more to that levels of people in Papua Nova Guinea.
Exactly, because basically, just a short to finish this thing. How should you address your just to think on this? How should you address in terms of nutrition? So basically, if you have a lack of a nutrient, nothing will happen in your blood tests. But the enzymes that would depend on that nutrient to function, they will start dropping down. But if you have lack of nutrients and lack of enzymes, the organ is still working, so nothing will still show. Then if you have many enzymes in many organs that start to fail, some organs might start, like for example thyroid or hormonal, or some things might start not to be so much produced. They will start to drop a little bit on the blood test, but not enough. So the doctor will say that everything is okay. Then when you have a lot of hold on, let me just explain here. So a lot of already organs not working properly, and a lot of enzymes not working properly, and organs that do not support other organs, something can start to get out of the range in the blood test. But the doctor will say, no, let's just see how this goes. And then when everything is already failing and 1, 2, or 3 markers are already out, is when, okay, we can give you a pill now. So why wait until there? That's just
Maybe
crazy.
too
But
late.
of course, I understand. It's not just about too late; it's about resources, because the resources, sadly, that we have in our country, in the Sistema Nacional de Saúde, he wants to make what is cheaper. So what is cheaper, they will only try to when the person is already died. So that's why the doctor never passes any exams when there are some things that might be out of balance. You only pass when you are already dying, basically. So of course, I'm talking a little bit harsh, but I mean, just for people to understand that you need to have more information on your side.
And from a humanology perspective, as a humanologist, what do you think are the biggest challenges that humans face on today, fast-paced digital world, etc., pollution? What are the biggest challenges, in your opinion?
The biggest challenge that we are facing right now is that it scares me, is that this is the first generation of kids. It's a first generation now where the coefficients of intelligence, so the QI, the intelligence will be lower than their fathers. In every human history, the kids were always smarter and smarter than their previous ones. And this is the first generation where the opposite is starting to happen, is where the kids are getting less intelligence than their parents. And
Why do
this
you
is
think
why.
that's happening? Why do you think that's happening?
Why? Because the kids from the start, they are put it on a screen. And kids don't have the enough brain and dopamine developed system to be in front of a fast scrolling screen. A kid should not be exposed to screens before the age of 8.
8?
before the age of, and you see babies already with screens on
Yeah.
front,
Yeah.
because this completely depletes your hold on. So what do I do now? I'll put this in
Um,
there.
yeah.
So this completely deplete, and this happens also in adults, not just in kids, because you have a lot of adults that are already suffering from dopamine depletion. And this is people that are always procrastinating. When you start scrolling on social media, you completely lose your energy. And why do you lose your energy? Biochemically speaking, you need glutamate in order for your brain, your neurons to fire up a new information. But then it needs time to refill. And if you play games, I mean, it's like, think this as a game. So it's like you fire a magic because we made the thought, then you need time to refill, and then you can produce again.
Okay.
And when you are scrolling, you are just depleting. You lose all your energy and all ability to even move neurons to move around. So showing this to a kid, you are completely destroying the main thing that a child has, that is the ability to hold on. So I'll put this in here. So the ability to have a great brain and to develop their brain, because a kid, they need to be, especially until the age of 16, 7 years old, they need to be without doing anything. If you are always constantly entertained, the kid won't bring creativity into his brain. So his brain is not gonna shift and get bigger and see new challenges, because the kid needs, what I do with my kids, for example, is I give him like a pen and a clip. It's a mola. I don't know how to say it. I mean, I see clip in saying in English. Basically, to what you used to put to hang your clothes.
Close. Yeah.
So basically, I give him this and say, okay, now with these two tools, you have to find 5 ways to play with it. So you need to really stimulate the creativity on the kids. So, and when you are exposing them to this type of environment, the kids are losing the ability to solve problems. So they will be stressed adults, that they don't know how to solve anything, that will have more auto-esteem problems, that they will think that everyone is trying to attack them because they cannot solve a normal problem. So this will bring a lot of mental disorders into our society, and you'll see much more kids suffering from aggressivity as well. And you can just see that if you put a kid in front of a screen and then try to take the screen away, you will see how much aggressiveness it will have. I don't expose my kids to that. I always let them play. And another thing that is very, very, very important for everyone, basically. Hold on, what do I do? What do I do? What do I do now? So is there
Those
any ones?
6 light blue ones are very threatening for you because you don't have space to fill them. So that could be a problem,
I'll
right? That could
I'll
be a
put the
problem.
red one in here.
Okay.
And one thing that not just adults but kids need is, you need to have you need to have spaces where you are focused. Okay, that's good. But what the screen does is that you put yourself completely
Passive.
focused on one stimulus. So you are depleting your vision only like this. And when a kid is not exposed to the nature, to see the wide sprays of a nature of fields, a big part that is the peripheric vision of your brain, the peripheral. So basically, having the ability to see around you, it will diminish. So it's going to be kids and persons that they don't notice anything, they cannot find solutions in anything because their brain is not expanded. And this is really, it's going to be, the next generation is going to be very, 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 and especially with AI coming into the field. I don't know where they're going to find jobs, because AI is going to steal the jobs of all these persons, of all these kids.
That's a big topic. Indeed, that's a big topic. It's not only being passive, not thinking, but AI thinking for
Yeah.
them. So that's a real problem. Okay. So I helped you in the game, Ivo, because I took the light blues.
Oh, you did? Okay.
Yeah, I took the light blues for me. So I'm retributing the all the good things that you are sharing today. But I want to challenge you a little bit with
Yeah,
what you're saying, because when you say screens, just to make it clear for everyone, when you say screens, we're talking about exposing kids to social media and infinite scrolling, or just being focused on any type of screen, watching movies, TV, video games, etc.?
There are some screens that I don't know. There are some cartoons that have light, that have low light. I don't remember the name, but they are less. They are less stimulus to the brain, so the kid can somehow direct that. But of course, that whenever a kid is like a zombie, his brain is not developing.
Okay.
The brain should always be developing.
Okay.
So basically, if you put him in a zombie state, it's easier for you to do your things. But at the same time, if you do not want to be a parent, then don't have kids. Because otherwise, I mean, if you want to be a parent, then it's normal. People nowadays, they want to be parents, but they don't want to raise kids. They want to keep their old life. They want to keep the thing. So they just put kids in there and just let them be. It's easier, yes, but it's your job as a parent to provide them. And a kid that is next to you, even if you are in the kitchen cooking, or I put my kids there and they see me, because that's already printing in their memories that family, someone in a family, when you are in a family, you need to cook for yourself. So you already are seeing that. So it's you in delivering tasks to the kids. It's also very, very important. Because they will be adults that will be easier to solve problems as well. And it's very, very documented already that when you put kids on a task, it will be much more successful kids in life. When you put them just on the screens, they will be kids that will probably be working for others. So if you want your kid to be working for others and do not develop anything of his own, it's not an entrepreneur, okay, just put him in there and just going to have that normal 9 to 5 job. But if you want your kid to really be someone else in life, you need to expand his knowledge,
Okay. Yep. Because keeping challenge you a little bit more on what you are saying. So, you and I, we watched TV when we were kids, right? We played games, video games, etc. And we didn't. I believe we end up being normal people, right? Not having any kind of consequence from exposed to that. But I believe that what you're saying is that nowadays kids are constantly looking at screens, right? Or they are even we very frequently see things like in restaurants where the families, everyone is looking at their phones, and the small kids are with another phone or tablet in front of them, and they are watching Coco Melon or YouTube videos constantly and in a passive way. So
the thing that you need to understand is that in our time, when we were growing up, the things that were showing was also different. Now, the things that are marketing and they are done to provoke addiction in the brain. Everything is already done in order to create addiction in the brain. That you can even see how things are. Imagine if you go to Facebook, if you go to some social medias, you can already see how they are making the videos. Each time is more shorter and short, so it's just made to make a depletion of addiction to that. So it's very hazardous. In our times, it was different. You have some things that, you have Tom and Jerry and things that were like, it were not very educative, but at the same time, it's not that damaging like it is now. And nowadays, it's too much colorful, too much things happening at the same time.
Too much offer, right, Ivo? When you watch Tom and Jerry, it's like Tom and Jerry, and then there was nothing else. You had to go outside and play.
Exactly. Before, normally you would go to see a little bit off screen, but then your friends will come over and you will always be outside, so you would have a lot of outside over. And I can tell you this, that nowadays, if you compare the time that a children of a modern society is outside, so
never.
we can say that people that are in jails, presidiaries that they are in jail, someone that is being arrested, they have more free time outside than a children. The medium of children the medium of a presidiary, they have 1 hour of sun per day outside. The medium of children in metropolis, it's 30 minutes. Normally, kids, they go to the car of the parent. They are on the school. They have 15 minutes on the school while it rings. Then they go back inside again. So they are always indoors. And of course, that makes a lot of vitamin D depletion,
Right.
and with vitamin D depletion, you will have a lot of other diseases as well.
Mm-hmm.
So
yeah. So social media is something that is not for kids, and kids should not be put
I
in
mean,
social
social
media.
media is something that you should really, everyone right now should really put a time marker on it, because it will destroy your brain if you keep like scrolling endlessly. So we really need to measure the time that you are there, because nowadays people say, I don't have time to work out. Yes, but the medium of hours that are in the social media per day per person is 6 hours per day. And what this happens, you lack the skills then to talking with someone. You start
Yeah.
not having energy talking to them. This starts also affecting what your relationships. It starts affecting how you deal with others. It starts affecting how you relate with others at home as well. So it's affecting a lot of things in your head. And also because this social media, what will happen nowadays, for example, social media and dating apps, they create an idea that's always a perfect world out there, a perfect person for us. And it's always making you crave for more. And what's happened is you are constantly being triggered with new things, and things that are not, many times they are not real. And that is breaking down a lot of the connections that we are having now. And this is why most marriages are not working now, because people don't take
Mm-hmm.
already time to know themselves. They don't take time to be with each other. So it's something that's really also depleting our real relationships, and that's why many couples are having already some problems in getting a person with time, and they don't even understand that they are seeing like the perfect novel, the perfect things. And so this is mining your brain. You really need to just, if you need that to work, okay, but otherwise, I mean, really live your life. So basically nowadays, I mean, you have social media and dating apps that they share the vision that there is a perfect world, there is a perfect person for you. So what happens is that you see a lot of stimulus that a person, oh, I want this, and you do not get enough time, for example,
Mm-hmm.
to know someone and to build a relationship. And this is also destroying our relationships, because right now, if you find someone and there is something, oh, I don't like on this, so I'll just skip, because
There's
it
another
gives
one
you an idea that you
waiting,
can
right?
always. Exactly. So this is taking away the power of relationships. That's why 80% of the marriages now are failing, because people don't take the time to build a relationship. People don't take the time to be in talking in a relationship. They want things they see in social media instead of talking to the person and really building what they really need.
Okay. Allow me to interrupt you because we finished the game, and I just want to tell you, although I won again, at
Uh-huh.
least you did 54 points this time. So there's clearly an
I'm increasing.
improvement since last time. Okay.
That's good. That's
Since we are now touching the topic of the dating apps and relationships, I think we have interesting topic there to also cover. Would you accept a rematch, Ivo, for us to continue our conversation
yeah,
here?
of course.
Okay, so
Show me
yeah,
the
let's do
way.
the same thing again. So I'm going to propose a rematch, and you should have some notification on your side. So, Ivo, as a personal trainer, besides the physical part and the mental well-being, etc., do you also somehow help people in their relationships?
I mean, we as a personal trainer and everyone that works with people, they are always like a psychologist. But at the same time,
Right.
I had a background also in coaching. I also take PNL courses, so it's Programação Neurolinguística, so NPL in English. So in that, of course, gives me a wider spectrum of how to relate. But and at the same time, these past 2 years, I was just studying because I was trying to save my own relationship. But it was just 2 years studying about psychotherapy and relationships and things like that. And at the same time, like we were saying before, I mean, uh, how am I helping? I'm helping, or at least trying to help people to really understand better themselves. And this is why, because I mean, when you're talking about love, when you're talking about connection, what educations do you have about love? Basically, like we were talking, you have what you see in social media, Basically, you have the education from Hollywood movies, you have education from Disney movies, where it's always happily ever after. And what's after that? That's what the story they never tell, you know. So when people are hoping for the happily after all, the happy ending, the thing is
Hmm.
that it's not an ending; it's a continuously, and people
There's a sequel.
they stop on the next, or
Hmm.
what's going on or after that. So what I always try to do, and always try to teach people, especially because I work from people from the 16 years old to 90 years old. So I mean, I've already taken care of around more than 3,000 people had already passed through my hands. I've been on this for 18 years already as a personal trainer. And I've learned a
Okay.
lot from many persons. I've learned from younger, from older, and I always try to learn from the old. I try to learn from the new, and then it's interesting to understand why the old have some sort of behaviors, and then I link them to how they were raised, and it's interesting to see what a person, when they are raised like this, what they become. And at the same time, I see younger kids that they are building now those connections. And if you just put there, for example, I like to work with people that also have different type of problems. I have a girl that has paralysis cerebral, for example. I've taken care of her since she was 8 years old, and she's already now 16. And there's a very big important part in there where she's creating the own image of herself. And I managed to, when she asked why this happened to me and things like that, so I just shifted that way, in a way that she could see herself as a motivator for everyone around her, as a strength to everyone around. And if you just learn how to shift some words in your brain, it's the difference between you want to, when you have something happens to you, it's like you want compassion. So when many people, they become the story instead of just, okay, they become the problem, the reality is wrong, instead of just they have this, but I am still me, you know. So in that's a thing that I always try to create, is build. And it's very important in terms of two people. We need to teach people to build the basic relationships, because we are not taught in school. In school, where we should learn about emotions, you do not talk about emotions.
Hmm.
You do not talk about
Hmm.
relationships. You don't talk about making connections. How do we expect someone to then grow up in the world and know how to connect with each other when they never were talked about that? For example, if I ask you or your audience who is listening, what do you do to love yourself? Do you even know, is that something, do you do anything to love yourself, you know? And it's not talking about seeing movies, that doesn't count. It's really to appreciate yourself, to appreciate your who you really are, your presence, to really be grateful for the beautiful person that you are, for being grateful for your heart to be there beating all day, whether you take care of him or not, is always there for you. Your body is always there for you. How are you grateful to yourself? And this is the main basic thing, is that in terms of what I try to really taught to people. And the first thing that I start, I always do a coaching session, because I want to see the values of the person. Because sometimes if I see that that person is too much not aligned with his own values, of course I cannot help that person. But I always do a coaching session in order to understand what's the mentality of that person as well. And of course, the first thing that I try to really teach the person is to have self-love, because the first relationship you need to have is with yourself. Because
Okay.
the person that you will spend more time in your life is, who is it? It's you. So if the person that you will spend more life with is you need to create a big relationship with yourself. And because when you build a good relationship with yourself, you create a soil where then other loves can grow. But if your
Hmm.
soil is not taken care of, if you have a bad soil, if you do not love yourself, you do not take care of yourself, then that soil will not create big things. So first you need to create a big soil so that you can create big things from there. Because most people, they are going to other relationships nowadays looking for some traits that I want to steal from that person, or like I want to suck your life from this and this and this, because they have their own voids. They don't feel their own voice. They don't work on their inner child. They don't work on their childhood background. They don't. Sometimes they are raised with difficult scenarios. And if you do not heal yourself first, we'll always be trying to steal something from another person. And it's the same. It's like, imagine, would you like to have someone with the same energy as you? If yes or no, because you really need to understand, okay, you will attract what you show, you will attract what you emanate. If you have a low energy, you are depressed, that's the type of person that you will also attract. If you are needy and you want someone as neediness, you attract someone that is controllable. Then, oh, I do not like. No, that's what you attracted. That's what you show that you liked. Okay, so it's very important that first thing is how do you love yourself? Do you know how to love yourself? It's a strange concept. What you do? What does love mean to you? That's the first thing that you need to do. And there is no education about love, so it's very important at any age. And I have a lady with 19 years old, and with 19 years, she does not know how to love herself. Because it's a person that's always giving love to the others because there's a big lack of love inside of her. So it doesn't matter the age. It's matters is how your brain is wired and how you feel your own experiences.
Okay.
And no one sits down and teaches what love is, or at least there are some parents now that are doing that, which is amazing. But how can you expect to be successful in a relationship if you've never studied how to relate with another person? So that's very important.
Wow, this was very poetic. I didn't want to interrupt you, Ivo, but there's the game to start. You need to accept the invitation for this final.
I was waiting for that. Okay.
No, you should have an invitation there for you to start, and then we start.
I'm already in the game, and then in the blue.
Oh,
am I not in already?
Maybe. Let me refresh.
But it's not
my screen. No.
I'm in the game, but
I'm starting now. Maybe my screen froze, but so I'm starting it now. I see you there. I'm starting it now. Okay. Loving yourself first in order to then venture into relationships, because it's a jungle out there. In general, Ivo, what do you think people in general, what are people looking for in relationships in general? Is it the same thing, the opposites, complementary? Do people know what they're looking for?
That's the question you need to ask, because it's really if people know what they really want. And like I told, the first big step for a great relationship is loving yourself. Because if you practice love with yourself, then you can already practice love with and give love to others as well. And practice love is not talking about nothing sexual, sexual. It's just really loving yourself. And first, you need to understand what are your core values. So, what are your values? What do you really makes you move? So, what is your values in life? And at least you need to know your 10 basic values, because and of course you can have values for work, values for family, values for yourself, values for a relationship. But if you're talking about relationships, you need to understand what is important. For example, me, first value is respect. Without respect, you cannot build anything else. Second value that has come now over the time, it's communication, because without communication, then you cannot do anything else. For example, the health, and I mean health industry, just comes like in a fourth place. So, you really need to understand in how do you choose values. It's very, there are some things that you can look online, or lists of values, but basically you have the value A and the value B, and then you see, okay, if there is the value A and the value B, and the value B without the A, how do this? So, for example, let's see if I don't mess this up. So basically, imagine that you have two values and you want to compare them. So how will you do this? Imagine that you have respect and you have family. So imagine that you have respect, but you don't have family. You have a family, but you don't have respect. What is more important? So this is how you start aligning values. Then, okay, so I keep respect, I put family, then, okay, you have a family, but then you don't have communication. And you have communication, but you don't have family. What do you prefer to have? So, and then from there on, you start building up the tree of your values in your life. So that's the main first thing for you to understand what you want in life as well. What is your dream? So then, of course, you also need to understand yourself. What is your dreams? What do you want to really achieve in life? Do you have dreams? Where do you want to go? And of course, I mean, a relationship does not work without admiration. So it's important that when you are and if you are in a relationship, you're listening to this and you are in a relationship, you should always think that you need to admire the other person. It's important for each of one admires the other person. That's really give your heart to the other person. And always also remember that nothing is guaranteed. And if someone imagine that this is something very, very important also to speak of, that is, when you meet someone, and if you're imagine that you are in a relationship for some time, are you still doing the same things with the same energy that you do at the start, or not, or no?
Mm-hmm.
So you can ask this if you are in a relationship. Are you still doing the same things like you were doing when you were starting, when you were dating, or have you changed the way? And why many relationships start to fail? Many relationships start to fail because you do certain habits at the start to conquer a person, and then you stop doing them.
Okay.
And what happens? Your brain, the brain of the other person, it creates an image and a love affair with those traits that you were giving. And then when you stop giving, but you're already in a relationship, the person will not know, but there's something odd because the person that I fell in love with, or the exact person, it's not showing anymore. So if you are starting a new relationship, it's very important to realize that only give at the start what you really can provide during your
Later.
life, you know.
Okay.
So the energy, don't put too much, like imagine that I'm not going to see any friends, I'm just going to see that person, and then over time, oh, I need to see friends. No, you need to really have a balanced life and only give at the start what you can give during your life in order to really keep track of yourself. Otherwise, you will that the other person's brain will associate that, no, this is a lie, this is not a person that I was loving, and they will start to detach from each other slowly and slowly and slowly. Not just of that, of course, there's
Mm-hmm.
many things according, but that's one of the reasons that so pay attention to what you are doing, and only give what you can give, in long term as well.
Okay.
Because if someone will fall in love with you based on a version that is not true, in the long term, you will either lose the attraction or you will start having problems, of course. So a thing that is always important, and people are not doing this, and this should be constant in all relationships, is that you should always review weekly or monthly, write down what attracts you in the beginning. Oh, I like this in you, this, because people start to forget, and it's normal to start to forget. And make sure, talk with the other person. Okay, I want to keep this, or I do not want to keep this. So really build a relationship. If people are not building relationships anymore, they are just living together. They are stealing traits from other person. It's like a relationship now. It's a contract where you give or take. It's not about building anymore. It's something you can give me this, then I can be with you. And why does this happen? Again, you need to go to the past, because nowadays there is a parental education that says to kids, for example, do this or you won't get that. So the love that the children is receiving is, if you do not do this, you lose that. If you do not do this, you'll not have the candy. Or do this so that you can have the candy or go to the party. So basically, it's all related to how to say, to win and lose situation. So when you grow up, you think, okay, love is this, so you have to give me something in order for you to win something as well. So we are educating kids to really just be on a contract relationship and not building something. So
Mm-hmm.
also the communication from when we are children is important. So you need to also assess how were you raised in the past, what voids you have to the past. There's a meditation I always like to do, that is like making a turn back on the past. It's like really go back to the past, to really close your eyes, go to the past, and like enter a room, and you see that room. It's like your children room. It's like when you were small and there's a children there in the room, and that children is like tied up. They cannot move. It's tied up and it's like crying. And you go there and you turn around and you see that is you as when you are small, but you cannot touch it. But it's you. It's your pains, everything that you are there. And that children is crying and it's not moving because everything that you promised that you would do in your life and you haven't done. So what would you say to that kid? What would you do differently? What love would you give to that younger you? And then you start taking the ropes off that person and really see what is missing from you from the past. What voice do you have? What words does that children needs to hear now that you are an adult that he hasn't heard before, so that you can really be more secure and more confident in in yourself.
Okay.
So really understanding your past is very important so you do not go to a relationship with voids and trying to steal energy from another person. I don't know if I'm making sense because I'm trying to play at the same time.
No, you're doing great. You're doing great, Ivo. So, and again, I didn't want to interrupt you, but there were some pending questions for me, which I wanted to also challenge you. So, what should you do if you are that person in a relationship that stopped receiving the same things that you've been receiving since the beginning of the relationship? So if your partner changed, doesn't give you the same things that attracted you, what should you do? Have the conversation, or?
You need first to create a safe space to have a conversation, because most of people, they will feel triggered when they are talking about this. So I need to make a deal with the person that is, look, it's depending how I will talk as well. So you need to make arguments. You have to make, you have to try to talk to the person in things that are not arguable. You cannot trigger that person. You cannot say that person is doing bad. You need to show what you want. Basically is, look, I feel this way, and I feel this way when I'm not receiving this, for example, or something like that. And I would like to understand if there would be a possibility to build something better out of this relationship, something like that. So basically, you want to create a space where you can talk without egos, So it's you say, okay, we'll have a dinner. Look, I want to improve our relationship. I think that we can bring this to another level again. And so I want to improve our relationship. What do you think that nowadays we always go for dinner every week, and that time we just use it for ourselves, to talk about ourselves, to talk of things that we need to improve and things like that. So in that conversation, you say, okay, so you can either write down and have this as a habit, but you never trigger the other person. If you're going to say you are doing this bad, no, you should not say you're not giving me this. No, you have to say what you really want. You not say what the other person is not giving. You never say what the other one is not doing. Okay. You say that what you want to receive. For me, and it's in the goal here is, how do you say this? Is for me to feel loved, I need to feel this. I would appreciate this type of actions. For example, this is what makes sense for me. It doesn't need to make sense for you, but this is for me. And then you change things, you change roles. Okay, so it's important to really always have this constant conversations, because it's very easy over time to just stop having this conversation, just let the life roll, and you are in constant conflict and emotional conflict. And of course, I like I told you, I've taken care of a lot of persons, and sadly, like men and women, most of them, and especially when they have kids, because they do not want to break the social image, most of them, they are together, and some of them tell me, until the kids are 18, and then they split. Because I do not love him, I do not love her, and I'm just there. And what happens? Either man or woman, they have a lover outside. Instead of trying to fix the relationship, you are living in a lie, mostly when you have kids. And the main problem in here is that people think that they are like protecting the kids, and they are not. Again, I have 3 kids. I break up, and I break up. Why? Why did I break up? Because I could have these 2 choices. Either I could live a lie, and keep living a life for the society and for the family and everything else. But at the same time, I would show to my kids and I would teach my kids that they will never know what is a relationship with love. Basically, I will teach them a lie. I will teach them that a relationship does not have love. That's what I would be teaching them. So for me, it made more sense in order to break up so that I can have the chance at least to provide them with a relationship with love. Because otherwise, they will follow what you are doing. They will accept the person that doesn't give them love when they grow up. They will accept someone that will talk bad to you. They will accept someone who doesn't know how to take care of you because that's what they saw in their parents. They will probably accept a betrayal or they will betray someone because kids they might not know but they understand a lot of things without knowing. So I mean, it's really important to I filled everything. Why do I have to play again?
Mm-hmm.
Well, I don't understand. I have all my
And so you now need to send something for the negatives. You have filled everything, Ivo. So there's no more space. Try to
why.
get the minimum
Okay,
possible
so I have to
into
put
the
on the negatives.
negatives.
Okay.
And I'll have the same because I cannot feel if you take the yellow one and I'm helping you, I cannot fit the blues.
Okay, I understand. Yeah.
Okay, you're back. So I cannot fit the blues.
Okay.
I'll get negatives as well. I'll get negatives as well.
Okay, very well. So basically, when you want to talk with your spouse or with your partner, you always think is that what the words that you need to think is that what is the goal in my relationship? What is the main? What is my intention? It's not what you want; it's the intention of what you want. You never address a person with what you want. You address the person with the intention. So, what do I really want to share? What is the intention behind these words? Okay, this is my intention. This is what. It's not what I want. It's my intention. My intention is to do this, this, this. So, what is the goal? Where do you want to bring a relationship to? It's very important to have a clear vision. So, my goal in a relationship is this, 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 this. To build up, for example, for now, my next goal in a relationship is to find someone who wants to build an amazing relationship with me together. And to build an amazing relationship with me together, we need to have this time to really connect and build this relationship. So, if from the start, always talking what makes us feel good.
The next relationship that you're trying to build is to have time.
Yeah.
To build a relationship.
Exactly. So like you have to have time for example, because if you do not address what you want in a relationship, for example, what company or a business would be successful if they only meet once at the start of the business and then never meet again to talk about the business? How many business owners dedicate time to the company meetings? You have constant on company meetings. Why?
Yes.
So that you can bring the company forward. Why you don't do this in a relationships? This is the main thing. And if you choose the wrong partner, and I'll give you some tips after how to have some dates where you can already understand if the person is the right person for you or not. I'll share some tips after. But because the person that you have in your life, it's the person that's going to be more responsible for your success or your failure. Because if you have someone that will take all your life energy from you, you'll not be able to do anything and you will fail as humans. You really need to understand first to try and fight and understand if the values they connect together, and sometimes if it's needed to walk away or not, because believe me that if you pass your life with someone that is wrong and is making you bad, not just you will not achieve the best version of yourself, but you'll have disease. Emotional conflict brings disease over time.
What kind of diseases? Specific ones or?
Depends. Normally, it's more related to heart or cancer. It's
Wow.
two things that really triggers when there's emotional conflict.
Mm-hmm.
Indeed, there is a biological explanation for this because when you are emotionally triggered, when you are anger, it raises an hormone that is the EL6. EL6 is an inflammatory molecule that will inflame tissues, and that also will deplete your muscle. And this is the main molecule that cancer cells they throw to the body so that they can steal nutrients from your body. So it's not, I mean, there's a lot of other chemicals, but this is just one small
Okay.
trait.
So maybe it's a good timing for me to ask, how does physical fitness impact a person's confidence and self-esteem in relationships?
A lot. Because when you work out, first your body will change, and the vision that you have your body will also change, but you'll move a lot in your biochemistry. I'll just try to be the most specifically in terms of biochemistry, because you will release hormones that are natural painkillers. So it's like opiaceum. So you will feel much more relaxed. If you are much more relaxed, you can address things in a much more calmer way. So when you get home, your brain will be much more aware, and if there's something that would normally trigger you, it won't make you anything, not that much thing. And then another thing is that you'll get a lot more oxygen to your brain, to your body as well.
Okay.
So you'll have better thoughts and better ways to deal with some things, with things that are not being good for you, for example. And of course, it will give you more endurance and more resilience, especially resilience, mental resilience. A difference between someone that is sedentary and someone that works out is a brain resilience. When you work out, you can endure much more pressure and much more things than someone who doesn't work out. Someone that doesn't work out, something small can already trigger like the loss of the emotion. They just start screaming and stuff. So you have a much more emotional balance.
As I understand the physical endurance, so if you train, right, you create physical endurance, but how can you create mental endurance from training?
Because your own neurons, they start to adapt to that type of behavior. They're getting much more resilience, and again, you have endorphins that make you feel much better. You have serotonin that raises a lot, so you will have much more good hormones that will balance you against the bad things that happen to you. So your emotional resilience will be much higher when you are working out. So it's very, you'll feel less tired, you'll feel much more energetic, because it's normal that when you are with this is a red, sorry, I've already done, so I have to accept the bad red. Okay. It's hard to be like doing all things, because but okay, it's like
mental endurance.
It's a good challenge.
It's a matter of mental endurance.
Exactly.
Okay. So before we also lose the train of thought that you were mentioning some minutes ago about you are going to give some red flags for you to be aware on dating. Do you want to share them now before we lose the train of thought there? So you're meeting someone for the first time on dating apps or not. What should you be looking for in terms of or not or avoid?
So basically, you need to understand one thing about first impressions is that, or on speed dating, when you meet someone, you have this. A person will take a decision if that is a potential partner in your first 3 seconds. In the first 3 seconds, you show and you know if that's already a person or not. So what you have to have. So you have to have presence. That's a thing. Okay, so you need to be. Imagine if you are going like this with a weak posture, you're not going to pass a lot of presence. So you need to have presence when you enter someone new. So you need to have a presence. Of course, fitness also helps in this, because we have a better posture as well.
Right.
And at the same time, another tip that I can give is that subconsciously you will also look for the person that takes more space in the room somehow. So imagine, as a man, if you are like walking in a room or you have a lot of persons, you can put the hands like on your thighs, okay, because this way
you look larger.
Even if you are small, but in the image you are look larger. If you are in a couch, you can always do something like this, okay, like in a respectful way, but like this, so that it can take a little more of energy. Another thing is that it is natural for a person this is all PNL in terms of how to relate with another person. This is just for the first meeting, okay? When you are still don't even talking to the person, if you cross your arms, you can already see that the person is, if a person is crossing the
What I'm doing
arms,
now.
or if it's crossing the legs, so if it's crossing the heart or it's crossing the genitals, this is main areas of life, for I'd say. So it's, if they are protecting main organs, it's because the person is uncomfortable. So
Okay.
that's a sign that you can see in the other person that you're talking to. And if you see that the person is like crossing, it's because, okay, she's uncomfortable or he's uncomfortable. So what can I do in order to release? So a thing that you can do is mirroring. For example, you can, at the same time, if you can connect to the person will have tendency to copy your movements. So imagine that you also do this, and then you start like having a little bit and try to just to copy the way she moves her head. And then you start to release the hands and see if the person follows. And then you try to change service. So subtly, when you will see that if you start like making some mimical copies, and if you put like this, and then the person also after a while it does this, so you know that you are in connection with the person. So be aware of some of this, how the person moves. Another thing that you can be aware when you're talking to someone, for example, standing, if the person with the both feet looking at you, is because it's comfortable in talking to you. If the person is with 1 foot to you and another one to the side, it's because it unconsciously is waiting for escape route. And you can see
The
this, for
perfect
example,
timing
when you
to
meet,
move.
if you meet some Jehovah's in the street or something like that, normally you check your body, always put 1 foot there, yeah, and you're already twisting to the other side. So
Try to move away.
this is just body language. So body language is
Yeah.
very important first to create a connection
Mhm.
with someone. And at the same time, the smell, something that for example, ladies, they always tell a lot, it's you need to smell good. That also counts a lot, the way you smell. So the appearance, physical posture, the smell, if you are more reserved or more dominant, if you take more space in the room, so things like that. And another very powerful thing that people need to practice more, it's also eye contact. Eye contact is one of the major things that you need to keep in terms of presence, because if you break eye contact, then it's because you don't have self-confidence. So you really need to practice also eye contact. That's very, very important to do. And how do you practice? It starts by practicing with someone that you don't care about, or someone in the street you meet, or the person that's going to sell you the things in the shop. So just start practicing this so that then you can be more comfortable with an eye contact as well. And another thing, when you invite someone to go to a place, there's an interesting study they did where they put some people that hold an ice cup and the people that hold a warm cup, for example. And then they show some pictures of them. And the people that were holding an ice cup, their references of the person, oh, that's a cold person, a cold expression, there are also things more far away. The persons that were holding a warm cup, they were already seeing that's a person that's warm, is welcoming. So the place where you put that person in and the experience, for example, maybe you want to take the person to take a tea instead of an ice cream, so because
Okay.
there are these small things that you can do in order to connect better with the person as well. And of
Mhm.
course, if you're already in a relationship, you can also, and you want to have this type of conversations, so you can use this. Okay, I'll do something more warm. I'll take him to a warm place so that you can relax better the person as well. So, but this is just the first things on how to be in a date. So basically, what we need to understand. I'll just let me just try to find here a thing that I wanted to share. Okay, basically. So in terms of relationship, the first phase, it's like attraction. So you are attracted by physical characteristics and it's a chemical phase. So, in this first phase, you need to understand that this is all chemical. It's all about, you want oxytocin. If you should avoid touching already because it releases oxytocin, and this can, when you start, people that start connecting too much early or having sex too much early, oxytocin will block your brain to see danger because it's a binding hormone. So when you touch too early, when you have intimate contact too early, you will be accepting someone that might have a lot of red flags and do not see them because you already raised that oxytocin in your brain.
Oh,
Because the
okay.
oxytocin will decrease the sense of danger.
You
Okay,
will allow
so
certain
this is
things.
exactly. So
Okay.
the first phase, you will fantasize of a perfect match. And why you will fantasize? You know someone, and you might like some things on this person, but you need to understand one thing, that your fantasized brain will fill all the other areas that you do not know of the person, like it would be perfect for you. It's not the real thing. It's just that your brain, and if you do not take enough time to know that person,
Okay.
the things that you have not talked, it will start filling them with what is your reality. Then some time passes and you engage, and then you start saying, oh, but this is not you. No, I was never that. You just feel that. So there are 3 rules that are important. Focus on these 3 rules when you are starting to meet someone.
Let's go.
So I would say, like in change this in 3 type of dates. First date, you want to understand the personality of the person. That's the first thing, the basic thing. See if you like this person. See if the time you have together is good. Do they think interesting? Do they talk about interesting things? Does that person makes you feel comfortable or uncomfortable? So it's just a superficial feeling. The time you spent, is it good, is it not good, is it boring? So just a superficial thing. So see if you like the personality. Questions you can make to reveal the preferences. So what was the best meal you had? So don't make close questions. Make close the best meal you had, because the person will already thinking on a story. You want things and questions that make the person talk about the story. So what was the best meal you ever have in your life? What area would you like to know more about? What Why do you like that book that you are reading, or that movie? Why? Not what movie do you like? No, not closed questions, open questions. Why do you like that movie? Do you have a favorite place that you like to go when you are alone, for example? So open-minded questions. See if the person, and this is very important, you make questions, but then it's very important to already understand this in the first time. That is, see if the person also asks you back.
Right.
Because if the person shows interest in you as well, or if it's a person that just likes to talk about herself, because this will give you one important thing, that if you ask and the person doesn't ask about yourself, that shows that that's a type of person that wants to have someone to live for her. She doesn't like to
Self-centered.
give, or she might. Exactly. She likes to be the center, and you will have to live for that person. It's all okay. If you are a needy person, you can have a person that is like a pedestal. Okay, but that's not a healthy relationship. So you can already start to see if there is an interest, or there is an interest in here. You can understand, okay, I'm doing this, but the person doesn't care. So is this really going on a good way? So if the person doesn't care, maybe I don't know if it's a good match or not. So because normally you would want 2 persons that are interested in knowing each other. Okay. Of course, the person can be shy, and if the person is shy, you can also understand that, and you can share some things. But at the same time, remember that you have 1 mouth and 2 ears, so you always listen more than you talk. That's also an important rule to keep. So have some first dates like this, where you just touch on some preferences, nothing too deep. And then when you think, okay, no, I like this person, we are having a good role together, you go for a second date. Second date that doesn't need to be the second date, but you can like improve more. So when you think that, okay, this can be a potential partner, where you already made the choice that, okay, it's not a friend, it's more than a friend, so this can be a potential partner. So the second date is where you can put the values. So it can be followed by several dates. One, then you can put the values. So you want then on this part, because you are thinking already, what do I want in a relationship? So I want someone that can connect at long term very well. So I want to reveal values. So this will put more intimate questions that reveal personal values, and each person can take their own time to open up. Sometimes they can open up, sometimes they do not. It's okay. Everything's okay. You can be someone that you open up more fast, and the other person takes some time. It's all okay. So it really depends of the person. Be sensitive, not to press too much on sensitive areas, but questions, for example, you can make different from the first question. So who was the most fascinating person you've met? So who was the most fascinating person you've ever met? This will make her or make him talk about someone inspires. And this we already understand the values, why that person inspires. Then you can ask,
Yeah.
but why it inspires you, what it brings you. You already understand the values that that person has in life. Okay. Then what was the most extravagant, crazy thing you've done or you would like to do? So you already understand another values, like in terms of adventures and other things like that. So in that sense, but why do you like to eat? Are you always like that? Oh no, so why would you what made you do that decision? What made you do that thing? So you understand how the person takes decisions in certain areas, you know. Then, for example, have you ever been in a situations where you had to make a difficult decision in your life, and then the person also tells you about this? And what is the most spontaneous thing that you've already done? So try to think on questions after you already know your values, because again, you can only make these questions after you know your own values.
To
Because
be able to compare, right? To be able to see if there's a match or not, you need to know your own values first.
you don't want to compare, you just need to understand if there
To
is
align values, right?
if there is a connection or not, if there
An
is some
alignment.
break dealers or not. Because imagine, oh, I would like to rob a bank. Okay, maybe that's a break dealer from me. I do not want to rob banks, so it's all okay. You know, so you need to understand if there is break dealers in a relationship. But first, in order to know if there is break dealers in a relationship, you have to do what? Your homework, that is
Yes.
loving yourself, understand what you want in life. And before you go to a relationship, you understand what are your own break dealers. For example, I was these 6 years on this relationship where I left, and I was always with expectations of trying to fix everything. So during this time, I was always writing down things that were causing emotional conflicts. And when I started, because then we need to clean ourselves after you break up. So I started looking at those things I've written, and the things that made me pain, I changed that to, okay, I felt bad because of this, or this make me feel uncomfortable. So what do I want in someone? What do I want to find? So I changed this in order to, okay, I will attract someone, or I want someone who can show me this, or I want to feel like this in this certain action. So I start to cleaning everything that made me and really understand what I really value. Why that is basically is why when that person did that to me, why did it hurt me? And I need to explain that to the other person, because if you fail to explain your values to another person, that person will not know how to make you happy. If you never talked about values and what is valuable for you, what is, for example, okay, I value respect, but what is respect, for example? Okay, respect for me is I like someone who I don't like someone to scream. I like someone to be with me. Okay, what is communication? Communication is someone that talks like. What is sexuality? Sexuality is when you have intimacy. So basically, you need to be very specific. Not why you need to be specific. And so this is really what these are my values. Is what I share is about. So basically, this second date you want to really cope with values. So try to find questions that make the person tell some stories, and you can really understand what is the values that the person have, and if they're aligned with yours or not, you know. For example, if you won the lottery, what would you do if you won Euro Milhões? Because that also relates you to understand the financial vision of the person. That can also, that's a lot, that causes a lot of stresses in couples, financial things. And if from there you already understand that this person, oh, I would like to buy a lot of bags and buy a lot of trips and things. Okay,
red flag.
So not a red flag, depends if you are also a person that receives love. Exactly, because this can be a person that was raised as a child where their parents are not present, and they were trying to buy her things in order to feel more present
with gifts.
So she learned that love is receiving presents, so she puts love in herself by buying things. So everything depends of if you understand the person or not. But of course, if there's a person who I would like to buy my own business or something, so what makes you feel proud of yourself. For example, ask this: what makes you feel proud of yourself? And the person, okay, I'm proud because I challenged this, I did this, I did. So you already know a lot more areas of not superficial. You start to go in a deeper level, and then basically the focus here on the second date is to learn about different backgrounds and experiences and compare them together, because you'll know a deeper level of the person. So then you have some second dates, okay, and then you go for a third part, that is the goals and growth. Basically, what do they want to do in the future? Because again, you can connect, but can you grow something together or not? Because it's not just about connection. It's about if our visions they aligned or not. So just like you, people don't have to have the same values as you. It's all okay. They don't have to have the same goals as you. It's all okay. The only thing that you need to understand is our bond strong enough to want to build this more or not? You have three decisions you can make when you have something. Is that decision one? I think our bond is strong enough to want to make more. Can we schedule this dinner so that we can talk every week or every month about ourselves? Because I think our bond is strong and I want to keep them like that. Decision one. Decision two. Really, I don't think we have enough bond to keep doing this. So I don't want to make the effort. So I think it's just better for walk away. It's all fine. Okay, you take a conscious decision. You don't want more of that and you walk away. There is a third decision that is, you know that you are in emotional conflict. There is some stresses and you just decide to ignore and not do anything and keep living like that. It's a decision, but it's a worse decision because that will make you that will make you live in an emotional conflict. And like I told you, that's going to destroy you. It will destroy either one person or another person. So really communication is the base. So basically goals, it's the third thing that you need to do is think about the future. Questions that you can do for this third date is, do you have a dream that you would like to fulfill one day? So you make already the person, you already know the values, and then you can already connect the dream with those values that the person has. What would you like to change in your life? And why haven't you done it yet? Or what do you need to start doing that? Was there an event or a situation that changed your life? So you already understand how the person reacts to certain things and why they are doing some decisions in the rest of their life, So it's, this will take to a much deeper level of the core values of the person. And you will already expect that, okay, this is what I can count on the person or not. Do you have someone who you consider to have been your greatest mentor, for example? Do you have someone that you consider to have been your greatest teacher? And again, this will bring you much more deep values of that person as well, and a vision for the future. Because if it's a teacher, it's the vision that I look into the future as well.
Or the path that the person is walking towards something
Exactly.
already.
Exactly.
Okay.
What would you like to do if you had enough money so that you didn't have to work? So again, you're going to the goals. So if you have enough money and you didn't need to work, what would you like to do? What are your dreams? What would you like to do? And with this information, you have enough information to know whether you want to spend more time or the rest of the life with this person or not. Okay, but you need to have this information. And sometimes people don't take time even just to do this. They stay in phase one. They're in phase one, where they have like the dopamine, they have like the dopamine. I'm feeling okay. Yeah, let's connect. Okay, and they stay in there. And then they want to build a relationship just based on there, and they never go on. And of course things break, and we go to a thing called relationship shopping. That, okay, this person doesn't go, so we go to another one, we go to another one, we go to another one.
Yeah.
So we have to accept that any partner will always come with the past, and that they will not completely satisfy all our needs. It's normal. You will not have a partner because people think that having a partner is like, the piece of the puzzle.
There's a perfect person out there for me.
A perfect match. No. You have this and you have this, and you have to mold yourself. You have to mold yourself in order to create a connection. If you don't take the time to mold the two puzzles together, is my brain, my personality, someone that is easy to deal with? Can I understand everything about me? Can I understand all the things that I do? Can I do everything I really want to do, and anything that I want to do, I do it? Or is there something I want to improve in me, and why I'm not doing it? So are you a very easy person to deal with? Is your brain very easy to understand? And I think most people will say, no, I'm not that. I have some complexes. I'm complex person. I have this. So if it's even hard for you to connect with yourself and make you do, for example, people, I want to work out, but I do not do it because of this. I want to eat well, but I do not do it because I am depending on sugar and blah blah blah. Okay, and if you cannot even do things for yourself right now, and you need to work on that, then imagine that brain that is not complete now brings another incomplete brain, and you try to connect. I mean, there's a lot of work that needs to be done, and the people that want to be in relationships at these days need to really understand that the relationship needs to grow, needs to be nurtured, needs to have time to do it. And again, you can be just skipping partners all your life, but I don't know if and that's okay. If you want to do that and you don't want to connect with anyone, that's all okay. But if you really want to, we are talking about building a relationship. If you want to build something bigger, so love yourself, learn to extend the love to others, understand what is unconditional love, really nurture your soil so that you can then bring and build something great from that. And that's the message I would like to leave today.
Thank you. You use the term relationship shopping, and I think that explains very well, in my perspective, what's happening on the current reality. And I guess everyone sees and reads news out there that says that everyone is using dating apps, but it's not working for the majority of people. I would like to know your opinion. Who is having success in dating apps? Does anyone is having success in dating apps?
I've seen an interesting chart the other day, some weeks ago, where they were about relationships, where they were comparing how the partners meet over time.
I've seen
and
that.
Like in the
I've seen
you've
that.
seen that. So, like in the 70s, it was like family, and then it was like church, and it was like friends, and then it starts with the age starts going from 1970, 1980, 1990. So then it started to friends coming more up, the church coming more down,
and work relationships,
and then work, and then it reaches the 2000 and something, and then it gets online there in the bottom, and then like in the space of 5-10 years, and now it's practically the main one. So like 60% they are online now. How can you use this in your favor? Again, you need to understand what you value in your life. What are your values? What type of person you want to have around you? So you can use this. I mean, the dating app. This you cannot. I mean, this is just shopping basically. So, but how can you use the social networks? For example, that's how we also met. There, you can go to events where you can think that you can find persons that might be interesting for you. You can go to events. There is a lot like meetup and things, so that you can look for things you like to do: hiking, going to play mini golf, going to play chess, going to I don't know, to make some, for example, when now I was putting a lot of like yoga, and because I wanted calm persons around me. So you need to put yourself on the situation where you can meet those persons, because no one will knock on your door saying, hello, I'm here for you. That will not happen. If you do not get out of the home, if you not get out of the house and go outside, that will not happen. Of course, you can always find persons on the, I mean, it helps. Many people connect today, like from Tinders and things like that. But I don't know. I mean, I have my own experience of that, and of course, you can connect with persons like that. But maybe it's not the best person, and sometimes you will be only seeing like a connection through a photo, and nowadays you don't even know what is real. With AI, you don't even know anymore what is real. And I mean, for me, I don't have any patience to be there like always the same conversation, the same thing always over, no. I mean, you expend so much time, and this is my opinion, in dating apps, like 1 month just scrolling people and trying to have the same conversations, where if you go to one event, just 1 weekend, and like 10 persons, in 1 weekend. So it's much more easy to use this and go to events and really connect with persons. So you just have to think, okay, what do I like? What do I like? And how can I meet people with things that I like and that I value with? So what kind of values do I have? Again, you have to know yourself first in order then to put yourself there. So you need to, what do I like? So where can I find these persons? Okay, I would like to date a supermodel. Okay, all good. Where can you go and be at the same place? Where do they are? So what you have to do, you have to go work for ages. You're gonna take a photo course so that you can be a photographer. What will you do? You know, so if you want to have a goal of meeting someone, okay, I want to meet someone that is this. But again, why do you want a model? Is just because of the physical aspect. And another thing I would like to say is that train yourself. Very important. Train yourself to not be instantly attracted to the most attractive person in the room. Train your brain to that because you do not know anything about that person. That person can destroy your life if it has shitty values. You can really destroy your life. So train yourself when you want to enter some place that you see everyone as equal. Don't instantly get attracted to that person that is more attractive to you. Just because you need to learn how to connect with persons. That's very important to learn. For men, it's a little harder because we are more physical, and like women normally they are more emotional. I mean, depending nowadays, it's changing a little bit as well. But I mean, for me, using like dating apps, of course, I mean, it's very hard today to have time and things to because people don't go to church, so it's difficult. But I would always you have much more rate of success if you go live in an event with someone than if you
Right.
go keeping on
Yes.
doing on this
Yeah.
scroll because I mean it's not you cannot see much in there.
These apps are made also to suck your money, right? They are built like social media is built in a way to be addicted, for you to be constantly
Of course,
scrolling. These apps are built in a way, their business model is always putting the carrot in front of you, and
exactly.
you're just a click away or a premium away of having all.
And they are always creating the false image that there is infinite perfect persons for you. And
Mhm.
some of the profiles there are fake. Many of the
but,
profiles there are
but not
fake.
created by the company, right?
No, not many times not creating for them. Sometimes I don't know already. I
Maybe,
already don't know
maybe
because you are
could
just
be,
calling
could
things
be.
in there. So I really don't know. But anyway, I haven't been there for quite some time, so I don't know how things are now. But in many times, I mean,
Mhm.
most people will change their photos, will change their so. It's always you have much greater success if you meet someone in the live.
Yeah, you can feel the energy, you can feel the vibe of the
Can feel the
person.
energy can be there. And if you, I mean, you just want, oh, I would like to go to the beach. Okay, just go to the beach and just sit with someone. Hello, I'm just here. I went
Okay,
to. Can I speak
right.
a little bit with you? I just want to share
Mhm.
some thoughts, and it's okay.
Mhm.
I mean, just see how kids interact. That's why I love kids because I mean,
They're very
you
natural.
see in there the pure love when you don't have any blockage. You just go there to a park and you just let's play. Yeah, okay. I mean, it's okay. What's your name? This is so you just lost the connection. You know, people start losing this connection. You need
Yeah,
to regain this connection again. You need
yeah,
to bring the
right, right,
connection to the
right.
world
Yeah.
again and make and thank you for what you are doing because somehow you can use like you are doing this social media to bring awareness to people. This is what I use social media for this to give good information and to receive good information. And that's all. For example, in my Instagram, I produce, yes, because I mean, sometimes I don't even have patience for that, but I produce, but I do not consume, you know, and and what I consume, I only have the best in the world in different areas. And I try not to stay there too much time because then it gets addictive because there's always an amount of information that it never
Yeah.
stops. And of
Mhm.
course, even and I'm not and if a person has like that things that is for laughing and stupid things, I mean you're just losing your time
Yes,
for nothing.
yes.
At least when I go there, I have interesting things from the best doctors in the
Yeah.
world and things like that. But of course, everyone depends. If you're a stand-up comedy guy, maybe you want to have just things that make you laugh.
No,
But it all depends of your
you
objectives.
you are the one to thank, Ivo, because you are the one providing here this amazing knowledge and amazing content, and we are getting closer to the end. And I would like to challenge you with two more things. The first thing is,
Yeah.
I always everyone that I invite here to the show, in the end, I always ask if they can recommend me someone that you think is also interesting to be a guest in this show for a future episode. Okay, so who do you
Hmm.
think should be an interesting person for me to invite.
I have one of my clients that is also a psychotherapist, and I've accompanied him since the start, and he's doing an amazing work in couple therapy and things like that. So I think it would be interesting to also address a little bit more on these topics, that is the human connection as well.
What's the name?
Eduardo Marino.
Challenge accepted. Okay. And then before we go, this has been the longest conversation that I've had on this show, because I really appreciate these topics. So that's why I'm letting it flow. I'm letting it flow. So for some guests, because they touch different areas, I like to challenge in the end, bringing to them different topics, and then requiring them to choose one of them as being more important than the other. Okay. So then I drop the topic that you don't choose, and I bring another one, and I make you choose. Then I continue dropping and bringing, and then in theory, in the end, we will have the topic that is the most important from you from all this list. Okay.
That's like values. That's exactly like values.
It's the same thing. Okay. Yeah. I'm not sure if these are values or not, or areas of knowledge. You'll see, because I want to keep the word secret. I want to challenge you.
Very well.
Different areas, and see which one of these topics will be the one that you value the most, Ivo. Okay?
Okay.
Let's start. So
let's go.
Between physical training and nutrition, I'm starting all in. Between physical training and nutrition.
Physical training. I've already taken that choice before. So.
Okay. Between physical training and meditation.
Physical training.
Physical training and self-confidence.
Physical training. It will lead to self-confidence.
Physical training and weight management.
Physical training, because it will give you weight management.
Physical training and mental health.
Again, physical training will give you also mental health. It's all included.
Okay. So physical training is indeed the key for most of the things that we discussed.
Exactly, because if you have mental health and you don't have physical training, your mental health will always, you'll always suffer with that. So physical training is really in the main topic. But of course, between physical training and nutrition, that was the hardest, because I've already taken that choice. If I wanted to follow then the nutrition course to the end and just be as nutrition, but then I had to make that decision. And the thing that I didn't want to do is just to be on the office all day. No, I wanted to do some more, like to teach. So then I choose to keep my work on physical training, though both are very important, because the nutrition is fundamental. It's an area that I really, really, really love, because you can cure most of the diseases, and you can cure more diseases than working with nutrition maybe than physical training. But physical training also gives you a lot. But in my own preferences, it will be physical training.
Today we met Ivo Borges, physical trainer defender, above many of the topics. Thank you very much, Ivo.
Thank you for this invitation. Thank you, everyone that was listening to the end. You're an amazing persons, and I hope that you can meet sometime, everyone, and maybe make an event with everyone. You can play some chess. Another thing, I like to play a lot of chess, so that's a board game that I like.
Okay.
Also, so you can invite me to that as well. Okay. See you, everyone.
Just
Good
a reminder,
night.
if everyone wants to connect with Ivo, the links of his profiles and his work is on the video description. So feel free to connect. Thank you. Goodbye.
Thank you. Bye-bye. Bye-bye.